Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Revolutionizing Digital Royalties, Simplify and Secure Your Global Payouts. Our speakers today are Nika Eep, Senior Strategy Manager at Payoneer. Nika works with senior management to help develop business strategy plans and evaluate merger and acquisition opportunities. She specializes in following payment trends in industries including music, gaming, e-commerce, and freelancing. Prior to joining Payoneer, she provided market research for startups and venture capitalists in the Bay Area and DC, as well as helping them secure funding. Nika holds a bachelor's degree in political economics from UC Berkeley and an MBA from Georgetown University. Our second speaker is Christina Jurich. Christina is an Enterprise Business Development Director at Payoneer with a focus on the unique payment needs of the music industry. She has over a decade of experience in financial technology and services, working closely with the world's largest companies to provide customized global payment solutions. And with that, we're going to move on to today's agenda. We will start off with covering a few payment and music industry trends, followed by a quick overview of the music royalty process. We will then look into challenges in the royalty disbursement process and finish off with how adopting a cross-border payment solution can help publishers, labels, and distributors simplify the royalty payout process. With that, I would now like to give the stage to my wonderful colleague Nika, who will discuss payment and music industry trends.
Thank you so much, Amit. So today I'm going to start off with a little bit of an overview of music industry trends that we see, as well as some of the payment issues that we see in the disbursement process. So within the music industry, we see that growth is reaching new highs almost unseen in a decade. The recorded music industry was worth about $19.1 billion in 2018 and saw double-digit growth over the last 4 years. Parts of the music industry are kind of following this trend, and sub-industries like publishing and streaming are also experiencing a lot of high growth. The publishing market itself is growing at a 7.1% CAGR, and a streaming revenue accounts for almost half of all global music revenue that was generated in 2018. As you can see here, the music industry is flourishing, and with the growth of the music industry, we also see growth in new types of artists. The music industry has seen a shift from major artists dominating the landscape to more niche indie artists kind of taking off in popularity with the rise of the indie artist. We actually see, this doesn't mean that major artists aren't still household names, but we just see larger followings and popularity taking off from these indie artists. What this means is that the globalization of music is driving indie artists to find their niche audiences around the world and garnering strong followings from this group. And while they may not be household names, they are household names within their fan groups. The model that indie artists may take kind of varies with how they choose to adopt their preferred model. But Payoneer has actually worked with many indie artists over the years to help collect their royalty payments, which leads us to talking about the choices that artists currently have now. So let's talk about the growing power of artists. As I mentioned before, with the industry being disrupted and with the traditional modes of success being disrupted, a lot of artists are gaining more say in how their music is distributed and how their music is marketed around the world. What this means is that artists now have a number of label services and distribution tools to choose from. And many new companies have actually sprung up to support some of these needs. And artists now even have the option to even independently release on streaming services like SoundCloud and bypass a lot of these traditional steps. So when we talk about these new companies rising up and supporting the artists in the needs they have with publishing their music, we see that there's also consolidation happening. With many options for artists to publish their music, companies in the market are starting to consolidate under one parent company, like you see here with Downtown Music Publishing and Cobalt. This consolidation actually gives the parent company the ability to offer more services to artists, such as cash advances and record label services, all under one roof, which also makes royalty payments a lot easier for these parent companies as they own much more of the value chain. So next, I really want to talk about and hone in on the challenges we see in the royalty disbursement process among our clients and in the industry overall. As we know, royalty payments are complex. There are many different types of players and the different types of royalty payments that need to be considered. It doesn't simplify the complexity when there are actually multiple streams of royalty revenues just for one song and that royalty collectors have to track. For example, as you can see on the right here, there's a number of benefactors for a single song that's broken out into composition and sound recording. The composition itself has a writer or composer as a beneficiary, as well as a publisher, whereas the sound recording has the artist or performer and the record label benefiting from those royalty payments. And this is an extremely simplified view, but this royalty payments business is very complex. Diving deeper into the complexity of the royalty payment process, here's a chart that talks a little bit about and breaks down the different components that go into royalties. So as you can see here, when we go deep and break down the different components, it's even more complicated. And there's multiple layers between when the royalty is generated and when the beneficiary actually receives those payments. For example, if Billie Eilish were to publish a song, there would be sync rights, reproduction rights, and performance rights for the music royalty itself and the sound recording. That's a total of 6 licenses across musical work and sound recording that exists for just one song on an album. And as you kind of think about what an album and looking at all different types of artists are recording, this adds a lot of complication and complexity to royalty collection and payments. We even have different entities collecting different types of royalty payments associated for one particular license, and multiple, as you can see here on the sound recording side. So as you can see here, this is a maze that is difficult to navigate. So what are some of the top issues that we see in royalty disbursement? Globalization of music means that there's globalized distribution. And while this has occurred in the past, the challenge has really grown as music has become more globalized, because now there are artists that need to be managed around the world by these royalty payment providers. And they need to these artists need to also receive payment in their local currency. Well, we see many companies collect their funds, use a multitude of systems actually in order to even execute one particular payment. They can be using up to 3, 4, 5, 6 providers to execute the payment, to calculate the royalty, to have back office systems to manage their account. And Payoneer really helps provide the ability to consolidate these systems by making all of your payment execution happen on one platform. We can also see within the industry that what the artist wants and what the publisher and distributors want are not always aligned. Royalty distributors do not always want to advance payment when the stream immediately occurs as a form of early payment or without reconciliation. And it's also because they don't want to pay out before they receive payments upstream from DSPs. So what this means is that there's some struggle between the needs of the artists as well as the needs of the royalty collectors and distributors who are actually executing those payments. And there's always some tension in that relationship. So what does this mean? Where do we go from here? And with these challenges that we see in the modern day royalty disbursement, and how can you actually go about modernizing your royalty payment system? There's a couple of factors that you can really take and consider when you're looking at your own royalty disbursements process and how you can improve it. So the first thing is that you need to make payment information collection easy and seamless for your artists. So you need to give your artists the ability to update their payment information, their address, things like that, in order to have kind of a seamless experience for your artists, as well as have more efficiencies in your payouts when you're making those payments. The second thing is that You want to have a global financial infrastructure to really support the frequency of payouts that your artists require and would like to have. The third thing is that artists, and in order to improve artist and kind of distributor relationships, is that artists want to know real time where their payment is and what is happening with their payment and when is it funded. On your end, as a payments provider for royalties, you also want to have reporting features to gain insight into the payment process. So you want to know yourself whether that where that payment is, which you may not be able to usually see. If you're making a bank payment for someone in the UK while you're located in the US, for example. And the last thing is that you can also make cross-border royalty payments more inexpensive for yourself as well as for the artist. And there's platforms out there that'll allow you to save money and provide a better artist experience by providing a localized payment delivery option. And Payoneer is actually one of those platforms that has the ability to provide on some of these features that I've talked about on how to modernize your royalty payouts in order to kind of bring you up to modern day disbursement. And now I'm going to hand it off to Christina, who will bring us a little bit deeper into the Payoneer offering and how you can modernize your payments process.
Thank you, Nika. Those were some really interesting insights into the music industry and how royalties are now being dispersed. So at this point, I'd love to go a little deeper into Payoneer and some of the benefits we can provide in supporting a cross-border platform. And here you can see just some of the highlights of using Payoneer. We offer full global coverage, that's 200 countries, 150 currencies, multiple methods of payment, whether it's an e-wallet account, card, direct bank transfer, it's all supported through us. We also try to streamline the process for you. So a lot of the administrative burden of collecting information is no longer something you need to worry about. Payoneer can take on that process. Fraud protection. This is a real strong point for Payoneer. We ensure that whoever you pay is the correct person. We do a full KYC check, risk checks, and really a lot of back-end system checks to ensure that you're paying who you think you're paying. And then finally, tax management. We provide W solutions, 1099 filings, and full tax support, including reporting that can be used so that you feel confident that you're meeting IRS standards. So getting a bit deeper into our global infrastructure, as you can see here, we have full global support. So 200 countries, 150 currencies, and with local clearing. We also have many banking relationships worldwide. So in 145 countries, we have at least 2 banking partners. In almost 100, we have 3 banking partners and sometimes more. This ensures payees are paid right away in their local currency and many times within one business day. So really getting that strong support within the countries and a real localized banking infrastructure. And we also offer over 60 funding currencies, so we can support any sort of global payment need that you may have as you pay out these royalties. And then getting a bit deeper into the methods of payment, artists love Payoneer because we offer so many different methods to receive their funds and their royalties. So at the top here, you can see prepaid MasterCard. This is a very popular solution, especially in a lot of countries where maybe banks aren't as popular. People like the ability to use the card. It can be used at ATMs worldwide. It can be used online. Any ATM, they can withdraw funds in local currency. Very easy, convenient card service to use. Next, you can see the local bank transfer option. So this means you're just getting paid directly into your bank account in your local currency. Again, we have those 2 to 3 banking relationships in most countries, meaning payees receive their funds quickly and they can feel confident that it'll arrive in their local currency. And then finally, the Payoneer account. This is like our e-wallet, very popular choice as well. So with this option, you can receive funds to a prepaid card. You can also receive the bank transfer. You can also keep the funds within the account. So if an artist needs to pay other bandmates or other distributors, those funds can stay within the Payoneer ecosystem and they can easily transfer funds to another payee's account. So some really great options there, and we'll work with you individually and figure out what will be the best fit for your artists and your own needs. So looking a bit deeper into the global platform, you can see it's a true end-to-end solution that we provide. So starting on the left with the payment, funding into your Payoneer account to make those payouts. We have a lot of different payment methods. So we have integrated clients. If you want to do bank transfers, wires, whatever payment method you choose, we can support and work closely with you to ensure it's the right solution. We also offer some value-added technology. We support APIs. We use the latest REST API technology. We work with the ERP providers. We also have online and mobile solutions. We also have a lot of value-added services. So FX, working capital. So in some cases, artists like to receive funds in advance, almost like a small loan. We can support that. We also offer billing and invoicing solutions and then tax management, which I'll go into a bit deeper in the next slide. We also offer a number of withdrawal methods, as we've spoken about. So we also support wires. So if somebody's in another country, but they still would like to receive funds in USD or Euro, we can support that. We also offer checks as a solution. So it really depends on the needs of your artists. And then finally, just getting paid globally, the 200 countries support, it's really unmatched in the industry and something that you can feel really good about ensuring that your payees will all be paid in local currency as much as possible. And then going to the bottom here, you can see again the pillars that really make up Payoneer. So the data, we're constantly providing reports and information back to you so you can see the flow of funds, who's getting paid, who's been approved in the system. We provide a really nice admin console dashboard that will allow you to easily look a little deeper into who you're paying and those payments that are made. The customer acquisition and engagement is a nice, easy onboarding experience. We offer 24/7 customer care support. It's global. It's not located. We have care teams on most continents. People can reach out to us via chatbot, email, phone call, all supported in local languages, providing a real localized feel. We also have the global banking and payment networks, as I've gone into before, the full compliance, regulatory, and risk. So doing full KYC checks, checking against OFAC lists, AML. We have 40 different databases that we're checking against anytime somebody onboards with us. We have global risk teams, and we want you to feel confident that you're paying who you think you're paying, and that these are not going to be any. You're going to avoid fraudulent behavior. And then finally, just the product and technology support. We're constantly updating our product, providing the latest technology solutions, and working closely with you to ensure that we meet whatever sort of user interface needs that you might have so that you have a nice, smooth, seamless payment experience for your artists. So delving a bit deeper into the tax solution, tax is very important in the music industry. Starting in 2017, the IRS began requiring that anybody receiving any sort of royalty payment would claim that with the IRS. Because of this, everyone now is required to submit W forms. So all artists need to supply a W form anytime they're receiving royalties or funds for their music. And with this service, we provide W-8, W-9 collection. We do our own checks against the IRS database. So we'll check the name, the identification number, ensure that that matches up against what the IRS has on file. We also provide 1099 submission and filing, so full 1099 miscellaneous support, and a really great reporting tools that you can use to pull this information. So if you need to delve a bit deeper into somebody's W, if you want to look at who's been sent their 1099s, you can easily access that information as well. We also offer thresholds. So if you'd like to ensure somebody doesn't receive a payment until they've completed their W form, we can support that as well. And then getting a bit deeper into the risk services that we can provide, we're constantly checking and maintaining the integrity of the payees that we onboard into your system. So we make sure that the person receiving the funds matches with the registration information. This means collecting and verifying all the KYC information. Because we have 4 million payees in our network, we can easily check against maybe other applications that were submitted, fraud rings. If we've seen other manipulations with this user, we can easily identify it. We also have teams globally looking into the documents that are provided, doing extra checks when needed, so just really ensuring that you are onboarding the right people and you avoid any sort of fraudulent behavior. Additionally, once somebody is registered, we continue tracking the money. So if we see any suspicious behavior, funds being withdrawn at a surprisingly high rate, all sorts of different things can come up once somebody's onboarded, and we're constantly monitoring that behavior. If something seems overly suspicious, we can always put an account on hold or work with you to ensure that that behavior stops. And then finally, monetary-based fraud prevention. So profiling those behavioral patterns. If we see any sort of suspicious patterns or behaviors, changes in the source of funds, those are the types of things we're always on the lookout for, and we'll make sure that any sort of behavior that seems fraudulent will be stopped. And that's it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions at any point in time. I hope that was a good overview. And Amit, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Christina and Nika, for that presentation. And if you would like to learn more how your business can modernize the royalty payment process, or also just learn more about other Payoneer services, then please visit our website www.payoneer.com and schedule a demo or just a call with one of our sales representatives. Thank you again for everyone who joined us here today, and hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.